Yep. Despite a devastating defeat. And then the last thing, I'm like, okay, so he's done all this, he's put all these literary devices and things, he's tried so hard to get us to really honor what's going on. So did it work? Is there a lot of value in what he did? And I personally think, yeah, it did work. I was pulled in through his use of imagery and sensory details to really feel what these soldiers were feeling. So I would say, yes, he does achieve his point because he pulls the reader in with imagery into the story. Okay, so now that I've shown you how I've kind of gone through things, I did all these different steps to figure out what the meaning was, and then I finally evaluated it. Okay, so did the poet actually accomplish what he wanted to? Now we're going to do one together. And I'm actually going to have Sierra read out the next poem, and if you guys flip the page over, we're going to be reading Still I Rise. I'm going to give you about 10 more seconds to finish this up. If you don't get it finished, you can get it from a friend later on. Don't interrupt me, and you need to raise your hand if you have a question. Not right now, somebody's out. Okay, so while she's reading this, you guys need to be looking at the poem and following along because you guys are going to have to analyze it. Okay, go ahead, Sierra.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may try me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you vested with gloom? Cause I'll walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides. Just like hopes springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lower eyes? Shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, cause I'll laugh like I got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, let air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I'll rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I'll rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and ride, welling and swelling, I'll bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. My name is
Okay, good. So what I'm going to have you do now is I'm going to have you take your packet, and we did this graphic organizer together. I'm going to have you flip over to the next graphic organizer. Because right now we're just going to analyze the poems, and then we're going to work towards combining it into a short response on another day. So what I want you to do right now is on your own, I want you to answer the first two boxes. So I want you to tell me what form this poem is written in. And I also want you to tell me the topic or to summarize the poem. So overall, what is she saying? Let's see. So I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to do that silently on your own, and then we're going to share out.
Pardon the interruption. Students, please make sure if you have detention today that you make your way down to Mr. Hunter's class by 3:35. Make sure if you have detention, it will be held in Mr. Hunter's class and be there by 3:35. Thanks.
so what type of poem is Still I Rise? Raise your hand. Brittany. Okay. But a ballad, remember, that's supposed to be something that's a little more musical. This is something that's kind of a general poem talking about feelings. So what's the one that's really similar to a ballad?
A lyric.
Yeah, perfect. So this is a lyric poem. It's talking all about her feelings. Why is it not a narrative poem? Right, exactly. So the other poem, we could really walk through this story that was unfolding. Here, we're just figuring out what her feelings are like. Question?
Could it also feel old because she basically praising herself about even if people talk about her?
Yeah, so she is praising herself and talking about how great she is, but she does also talk about her struggle. And so an ode is more kind of talking about how great she is, and that's all she would talk about. But here she really expresses her feelings about that struggle that she has to go through. Okay, so what's then the topic of this poem? What's your summary of what's going on? Deja?
I said, my summary is this poem is about a black powerful woman who won't let nothing stand in her way, and she will always rise.
Good. Yeah, she won't let anything stand in her way. She'll always rise up. What's another phrase for like rising up? Go ahead, Ashley.
Okay, I'm just a black woman who has been through ups and downs, but she still praises herself.
Yeah, she still praises herself. She still overcomes obstacles. So, good. Yep, so it's a lyric poem. It's about a strong black woman who, no matter what, overcomes these obstacles. What I'm going to have you do now is go through the rest of this graphic organizer. Turn it on.